Wynter signed the contract in the afternoon and was nearly dead by midnight. She hadn't been tricked into it. Not exactly. She'd wanted everything it offered. The salary, the title, the chance to finally be worth something in a job that wasn't slowly killing her self-respect. She just didn't read the last page carefully enough. And when a single drop of her blood fell onto the paper and was absorbed in an instant and dried before she could even wipe it away, Wynter didn't think anything of it. She should have. Because that wasn't just a contract, it was a blood oath. And the man sitting across the desk from her, with his sapphire eyes and his 3,000-year-old patience, had been waiting for exactly that moment. This is Blood Slave, the beginning. I wrote this book, and I'm going to tell you every single thing that happens in it. All the blood, all the feelings, all the terrible decisions, and the one absolutely magnificent one, right at the end. So, buckle up. Full spoilers from this point forward. If you haven't read Blood Slave, The Beginning, and you want to experience it fresh, come back after. The book is available in ebook and paperback, and links are in the description. For everyone else, let's go. Before any of this happens, before the club, before the contract, before the vampire, there's just a woman who's had enough. Her name is Wynter Armstrong. She's 25, works as a junior graphic designer, and she's been passed over for promotion twice. Her flat has a spare room she can barely afford to leave empty. She's behind on her mortgage, and 2 years ago, she ended a relationship with a man who cheated on her twice, the second time with the woman he subsequently married. She's not broken in an obvious way. She's not crying into wine or ringing her mum. She's just cold. That's the word the book uses for her. Over and over. Cold, icy, shut off. She's built a wall around herself so effectively that she barely registers it anymore. She goes out, dances, takes men home, feels nothing meaningful, and decides that's fine. That's safer. Her mother did the same thing at roughly the same age, and Wynter has watched it calcify into loneliness, and she thinks, yeah, worth it. Connection hurts too much. Just don't. So, that's the version of Wynter who shows up at Slave nightclub on a Friday night, dressed to go out, with barely a tenner in her purse. I want to add my thoughts here. Wynter's coldness isn't cruelty. I want to be really clear about that from the start, because I think it's easy to read her early chapters and assume she's brittle or unlikable. She's not. She's someone whose survival mechanism has become her whole personality. There's a difference. The iciness is what makes her so compelling to Marcus, and so heartbreaking to watch when it starts to crack. The prologues are worth talking about here too, because structurally they do something really specific. Prologue 1 is Wynter's story. I show you the breakup, the decision to close off, and the slow slide into emotional stagnation. It's all very human, very relatable. The second prologue is Marcus's, and the extraordinary thing about it is that he can already smell her. He can taste the quality of her sadness from a distance, even before she walks through his club doors. He reaches across the ether and shares a dream with her, rivers of blood like wine, and she feels it and dismisses it as too many vampire movies. She has no idea she's already been noticed, already catalogued, already wanted. That shared dream is real. He's genuinely touching her psychically before they meet. She'll dream versions of it again throughout the book. It's the first signal that their connection isn't purely the result of a hex. It predates the contract entirely. Remember that. So here's how it goes. Wynter turns down an invitation to join the club's mysterious owner in his private booth. She's not flattered, she's annoyed. She doesn't do the cliché of the billionaire noticing her from his tower. She laughs in the security guard's face and heads for the door. And then he catches her on the way out and makes a completely different offer. Not the booth, not the owner, a job. The club is called Slave, which, yes, is exactly what it sounds like. But she just doesn't know that yet. And apparently there's a new position available in marketing for someone with exactly her skill set. She goes home, thinks about it, and comes back the next day. The interview is strange. She's shown to an office and greeted not by a panel but by one man, someone in a charcoal suit and with grey hair, unnervingly blue eyes, and total command of the room. He introduces himself as Marcus, says he oversees Mr. Cole's establishments, has a folder on Wynter that contains, and I'm not exaggerating, everything. Her bank records, her career history, her relationship status, the approximate number of people she's slept with in the past year, her medical history, her current contraceptive pill prescription. She should run. She reads it, sits with it, and instead asks if they know her shoe size, which is absolutely the correct response, and also exactly why Marcus wants her. He isn't interviewing her, he's showing her how much power he already has over her life, and watching to see if she flinches. She doesn't. That's the test she doesn't know she's passing. The contract is real, the marketing role is real. She'll be running online campaigns, moderating member-only content, and building the brand. She's currently earning a fraction of the proposed salary. And there's a probationary period, which means she can walk away inside the first week if she chooses to. And with it being a nightclub, the employees all work from 6 p.m. until 2 a.m. every night. The final page of the contract has a clause she misreads. Extra duties on Saturday and Sunday daytimes at Mr. Cole's direct behest. She thinks it means weekend, overtime. She signs. And as she does, she gets a paper cut, and a single drop of blood falls onto the paper and is absorbed instantly. She doesn't know it, but she's just made a blood oath. And she still doesn't know she's been talking to Mr. Cole the entire time. Because Marcus Cole is the owner. He's been there the whole time, doing his own interview from the other side of the desk, and when she finally works it out, she laughs. Too late now. The blood slave contract is the work of his witch. When Wynter's blood hits that paper, it binds her life to his. She won't be able to tell outsiders the true nature of what goes on at Slave. She'll feel compelled to please and serve him, and her survival instincts can be overridden by his need to feed. The first bite happens almost immediately. Marcus then explains calmly, in the same boardroom voice he's been using this whole time, that his employees undertake extra duties on their designated overtime days, that he and others like him require regular feeding from willing donors, that it's regulated and safe and far more civilized than hunting. And then he tells her he's a vampire. Wynter is staring at his reflection in the window, and it looks like a skeleton staring back at her. Death personified, and she should be terrified. Instead, she lets him bite her wrist. That's the hex beginning to work, yes. But it's also Wynter, who finds him genuinely magnetic, has been told her blood is fresh and exceptional, and is already a little bit in love with how powerful and terrifying he is. The book doesn't let you off the hook by saying it's purely the curse. There's something real underneath it, something she doesn't want to look at too closely. He takes 4 long pulls from her wrist. She experiences euphoria unlike anything she's ever felt before. And then he stops, closes the wound, and tells her that what she's feeling is because they're linked now, that she'll grow to love him, that her life is bound to his. She's also desperately horny. That's just what the bite does. It produces an overwhelming physical response, and she propositions him. He says no. He says he absolutely does not sleep with his blood slaves, that what he wants from her is blood, and blood only, that she can go satisfy herself elsewhere. And then he takes her to the window, wraps himself around her from behind, tells her he's been watching her in the club for weeks, says she's mesmerizing, puts his lips on her neck, and bites her again. And when he eventually stops, he tells her she's lucky, as he doesn't usually kiss on a first date. That's Marcus Cole summed up in 3 moves. Now, let's talk about who else is in this building, because the world of Slave is bigger than just Marcus and Wynter. The managers. There are 4 of them. Jack, the HR manager, who has been there about 20 years and is very much in love with Marcus in the manufactured devotion kind of way. Patrick, the oldest, who has given 50 years of his life to this place and is visibly dying. Marcus can taste cancer in his blood and has already decided he can't drink from him anymore. And Joanna, the finance manager, who has been celibate for 2 decades because she loves Marcus so much she refuses to take anyone else to her bed, even as he continues to take from her while making it explicitly clear he will never, ever love her back. They're not villains, they're cautionary tales. Joanna walks in on Wynter's feed at a particularly intense moment. Marcus has her perched on his desk, has just bitten her thigh, and is very much not done. And Marcus reacts by crossing the room in a fraction of a second and pinning her to the wall by her throat, lifting her off the floor. Joanna lets it happen. She doesn't even reach for her shoes as she's dropped and hurries back to the lift. Joanna's true show of jealousy is coming, but in this moment, what I find most devastating is that she walks in not to cause trouble, but just to remind him it's nearly 6 o'clock. She came up because she wanted to see him, even just for a second, and she pays for it with 10 lashings. 20 years, and it's still this bad. Jack finds Wynter when she comes round from a blood loss faint because Marcus took too much again, and she ends up hooked to an IV on the sofa behind his frosted glass partition. Jack is kind to her in the first conversation. He explains the hierarchy. The 4 managers serve only 1 master, which is rare, while the rest of the employees serve multiple vampires in the weekday feeding sessions. He warns her that Joanna, Patrick, and he himself are not her friends, not really. That each of them is only looking to get closer to Marcus. That jealousy will drive them, not loyalty. But he also makes it clear, in the most unsubtle way possible, that he'd be happy to take care of her post-bite physical needs anytime. Wynter declines. She has a long week ahead. Then there's Warren Chalmers, head of IT. the first person in this building who doesn't make her feel like prey. He runs the basement server farm, has the most tattooed arms in the building, looks deeply uncomfortable in his suit, and has apparently had to write his own blood slave marketing profile, a fact that makes both her and me absolutely furious on his behalf. He is listed as a fighter, a challenge, marketed specifically to vampires who want someone who won't go easily. He has to describe himself as desirable dinner. It's genuinely horrible, and he does it with grim dignity. Warren and Wynter click immediately. He asks if she understands what she's getting into. He's the only person who looks her in the eye and tells her the truth without agenda. He gives her cream for her bite marks. It's the most quietly heroic thing anyone does in the entire book. He tells her why the bite produces such overwhelming euphoria. It's the human body's survival mechanism, unable to process willing proximity to death, so floods with endorphins and reframes the terror as pleasure. And he tells her that if she climaxes while being fed on, the blood surges and the vampire loses control. And in 9 times out of 10, that's fatal. He tells her he fights for himself, not for the vampire's entertainment, because if he stops fighting, he's afraid he'll stop being himself. She will think about that sentence for the rest of the book. There's a boxing ring scene at the end of the book where Warren is winning fight after fight against his fellow employees while vampires watch and bet. It hits differently once you know he said that. The weekend deepens. Marcus takes from her over and over 3 bites on the first day, far more than he takes from anyone else, and far more than is safe. He puts her on his desk, takes blood from her neck, her thigh, and her wrist. She passes out twice. He has his assistant bring a nurse. Each time she comes round, she feels the same combination of euphoria and shame and fury and want. She propositions him again. He refuses again. He kisses her again. He refuses her again. And then the shower scene happens. He asks her to shower. She assumes this is professional, a cleanliness thing before a feed. He follows her in and strips down too. She discovers that beneath the suit is the body of a literal god. They shower side by side in silence, and the tension is extraordinary, and he does nothing with it. She says something genuinely insightful, something that gets under his skin. If you felt nothing, you wouldn't have built this empire. You'd just take without the theatrics. You need us worshipping you. That's not nothing, that's something. He slams her against the tile wall, and then she says, "No more games, Marcus, just feed." But instead, he stops, steps back. It's the first time in the book she wins something. The power dynamic shifts constantly in these early chapters, and the book is deliberate about it. Wynter has almost no real power, and yet she keeps finding tiny gaps in his control. She wins things not through strength, but through clarity, through saying the true thing at the exact right moment. That's her superpower in book 1. Meanwhile, we're also getting Marcus's perspective. He watches everything on the security cameras. As Wynter has her first physical encounter in this building, a quick, consensual encounter with the security guard David in a basement bathroom, which he initiated as his way of apologizing for luring her into the trap. Marcus watches via the cameras and immediately fantasizes about snapping David's neck, then tells himself he doesn't care. He doesn't get jealous. He's 3,000 years old. He's lying to himself, badly. He also receives a visit from his priestess, the witch who created the blood slave curse and maintains it. She's shrouded in red, face always hidden. She slices his palm and reads his future in the blood. The full moon is coming. Blood will spill. And Wynter will love another if he doesn't act. He says he'll never take a bride, never fell in love, never will. The priestess calls him a stubborn fool, which is accurate. He also chooses Jack to conceive the next generation of priestess. The coven maintains their bloodline through ritual, keeping their women pure until it's time to conceive, then choosing a willing man. Jack does not know who he's sleeping with. He will spend the rest of this book pining for the mysterious woman he never saw. The probationary period is still running. Wynter has days left to invoke it, and she starts writing resignation letters. She writes 10. She can't sign them properly because her hand shakes. The curse won't let her. She eventually manages one, gets it signed, locks it in her briefcase, and then Marcus tells her he's already sent her resignation to her previous employer on her behalf. She's already quit her day job. He did it for her without asking. She tries to hand him the letter resigning from slave. He takes it, balls it up, throws it into the fireplace, tells her she can't just hand him a piece of paper. She has to mean it. She has to say it. And then he asks if he can give her a 3rd overtime day to replace Patrick. He makes the ask sound calculated. She's the youngest, has the freshest blood. It just makes sense. She refuses. He ignores her refusal. She storms out. Marcella appears, the head of the design team, who Wynter hits it off with almost immediately. Warm, direct, and funny, she gives Wynter genuinely candid advice about what the bite does to people and how she handles the aftermath. They talk about Joanna's celibacy, which Wynter finds both pitiable and terrifying as a vision of her own possible future. They talk about whether the curse has ever been broken. Marcella says no, not once, and then, very gently, tells Wynter not to be too hasty, that her position here, with one master who won't share her, is a blessing in this world. We'll come back to who Marcella really is. But everything she says to Wynter in these conversations, every nudge towards staying, lands differently once you know she's not just a colleague. Marcus sends Wynter a dictaphone recording. The assistant, Bryn, brings it down to her office and emphasizes that only she is allowed to hear it. She plays it. He gives her some website copy to upload, which is professional and brief. And then, on the same recording, he says it would bring him great pleasure to watch someone have sex with her. Male or female, her choice. He'll arrange suitors. Just give him a name. If she comes to his office when the clock turns 2:01 a.m. instead of clocking off, he'll take that as a yes. She does not go, but he's engineered a meeting that makes it impossible for her to leave. The Thursday meeting deserves its own beat. He calls all the department heads together, under the guise of planning new club locations in Dublin, Edinburgh, and Cardiff. The whole thing is theatre, she realises immediately, all of it arranged to keep her captive until 2 a.m. arrives. He doesn't ask for her opinion. He doesn't pretend to. He just holds her there until the clock ticks over and then reaches down in front of all of them and feeds from her wrist, in front of everyone, while they watch. And then he asks who wants to stay and help Wynter better serve his needs. Every hand goes up. He sends Joanna, Patrick, and Jack away. He has Wynter climb up onto the conference table. He removes her stockings. He bites her in front of the remaining team. He tells her to choose. She looks at Warren. He shakes his head. No. He refuses to be part of this. She is mortified. She's also in that moment starting to fall for him. It's Marcella who steps forward and takes her hand. The whole encounter, what happens in the boardroom, and then later with Marcella, I want to talk about carefully, because I think it's the most misread part of the book. Wynter doesn't choose Marcella because she's in love with her. She chooses her because Warren said no, and Marcella is the next person she trusts. Not the vultures, as Warren calls them. Not the people who want the notch on their belt. Marcella has been genuinely kind. She comes through when it matters, and what happens between them is real and warm and good, in the middle of something that's being orchestrated by a man who owns them both. It's an act of friendship as much as it is anything else. And it's meaningful. Marcus watches. He also, separately, traps Warren in the corridor and demands to know why he refused Wynter. Warren says they're just colleagues. He promised to look after her, and nothing more. Marcus slams his head into the elevator doors and tells him to stay away. He taunts him, calling him his pet, his rabbit to play with. Warren's response is to tell Marcus to call him a rabbit one more time and find out what happens. And Marcus, for just a second, looks at him with something close to respect. Marcus breaking Warren's nose and then basically telling him to fight harder is genuinely the most complex moment he has in Book 1. He can't leave them alone. He can't stop watching. He's threatened by Warren not because he's powerful, but because Warren is the one person in this building who might make Wynter choose something other than him. And part of him wants to see if Warren's actually worth it. After their interesting morning, Wynter wakes to find Marcus quizzing his high priestess. She overhears him ask about the baby. She freezes. The mysterious woman is pregnant. It's very early, confirmed, but not visible. Wynter realizes she was just told something significant and can't quite make sense of it yet. She and Marcus have a moment of connection then. She needs to be held, and he holds her. She says something honest about not understanding what they are. He says the things that make her want to trust him. I'll always keep you safe, even when I'm angry. And then he calls her his whore, shoves a dress at her, and drags her to the elevator. Wynter knows he's angry. She knows he's going to punish her. She panics and does something completely different, offers herself willingly, tells him to take what he wants, don't punish her, just feed. He stops the elevator between floors, and then he loses control. He takes far more than he should. She climaxes. The blood surges. He can't stop. She screams his name and he doesn't hear her. And in the narrowing dark, staring at death coming for her, Wynter does what no blood slave in years has managed to do. She invokes the resignation clause aloud, formally, in full, meaning every single word of it. The curse breaks. He pulls away from her, shaking. He looks up at her on his knees with something she has never seen on his face before. Pure shock. She doesn't care. She pushes the button. The elevator descends. She is free. The curse doesn't break because she fought hard enough or was clever enough. It breaks because she was genuinely, literally dying, and her survival instinct, the real one, the ancient one, deeper than any hex, kicked in harder than the magic. That's the detail that wrecked me when I wrote it. She doesn't save herself through love. She saves herself through the will to live. For about 12 minutes, she's free. Marcus drags her through the club to show her what happens to the actual whores, the humans bound to each other on leather beds in the feeding rooms, giving their blood to vampire after vampire in a trance of artificial pleasure. "You won't be my whore," he tells her, "but you will be my slave." She says she's leaving, so he takes her to the fight room. Warren is in the boxing ring. He's been there all night, fighting employee after employee, winning every time, because the loser goes straight to a waiting vampire. He is on autopilot. He is destroying people he works with to avoid being drained himself. He looks wrecked. He looks like he hates himself. Marcus says he wins every fight, but tomorrow he fights vampires and they always take more than their fill, unless Wynter stays, in which case Marcus will make sure they're gentle. He also says, "Leave, and I'll let them drink him dry, and then I'll move on to your best friend, and then your mother." She looks at Warren, she looks at the ring, she looks at Marcus, and she makes the deal. The terms: she works 3 days a week, she feeds him as agreed, but she doesn't behave like a prisoner. Only Marcus, herself, and his priestess know the curse is broken. Everyone else sees a loyal blood slave. In return, Warren lives, her best friend lives, her mother lives. He accepts. He carries her back upstairs because she's still dangerously depleted. She falls asleep in his arms, hating him. I want to be honest about this ending. Wynter doesn't choose to stay because she's in love with Marcus, or because she's forgiven him, or because the curse crept back in and she just doesn't realize it. She chooses to stay because Warren is in that ring and she will not have his death on her hands. It's an act of sacrifice, not love. That distinction matters enormously going into book 2. She wakes in darkness. Something presses hard against her chest. It's a tracking spell, the priestess placing one on her in the dark. She demands to know why. The priestess tells her they've seen her future. And then she shows her. The first vision, blood on every surface. Wynter as a new vampire, licking her fingers, asking Marcus to bring her a slave. He does. It's Warren who steps out of the elevator and says, "So it's true." She lunges for him without hesitation, drinks until his heart stops, and then jumps into Marcus's arms and kisses him. The second vision, a full moon, Wynter, in the arms of a dark figure whose face she can't see. She looks up at him and says, "I choose you." He says Marcus will never let them go, but he'd risk dying for the chance to be with her. 2 futures, both hers, neither of them easy. The priestess tells her she will either be his savior or his undoing. Whichever path she takes leads to heartache. And then she's gone. The dark figure in the second vision is unnamed. We don't see his face. He could be Warren. He could be someone we haven't met yet. The fact that Wynter looks up at him and says, "I choose you," present tense, completely certain, is the single most emotionally loaded moment in the whole book for me. And then, as the working night begins and Marcus releases her, Wynter is alone in her office. She stands at the window watching the clubbers below and thinks, a week ago she was down there, yearning for something to change, never imagining this. And a woman appears in her locked office, not the priestess. Someone new, someone who disappears when Wynter moves toward her, and reappears on the other side of the room. She gives Wynter exactly 3 pieces of information. 1. Follow Marcus, he'll lead you to me. 2. Don't let his soul merge with yours. When his eyes glow, he's calling to you. Your body will be powerless to refuse him, and so will your soul. 3. There is a way to sever the connection. I'll show you, but not yet. For now, follow him. And she's gone. Book 1 ends here. I want to talk about what I was actually doing with Bloodslave, because I think it can look like a dark romance with a vampire boss and a lot of fraught tension. And it is that. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but the thing I was most interested in was control. Specifically, what happens when the desire to be controlled and the will to resist it exist in the same person at the same time. Wynter doesn't want Marcus. She knows her pull toward him is manufactured. She says it out loud repeatedly. And yet the desire is real in her body, and she can't entirely separate the manufactured version from whatever genuine thing she feels when he's tender and unexpected. The book sits in that gap and refuses to resolve it, because I don't think it can be resolved. That's human. That's relationships. That's the terrible, compelling thing about being drawn to someone whose power over you you've clearly identified and still can't fully fight. She breaks the curse not through love, but through the will to survive. And then she chooses to stay not through love, but through loyalty to someone else. Every act of agency Wynter has in this book is on behalf of something other than her own feelings for Marcus. I find that incredibly interesting and slightly heartbreaking. I also want to note that Marcus does not have a redemption arc, yet. I've seen some discussion about Marcus as a character and whether he's redeemable, and I want to be honest. In Book 1, he isn't. He's a predator who built a global empire on the bodies and blood of human beings, who manipulates everyone around him as a matter of habit, who orchestrates events to keep Wynter trapped, not because he loves her, but because he finds her exceptional prey. He slams Warren's head into elevator doors and doesn't apologise. He lashes Joanna 10 times for the crime of walking into a room. He threatens to kill Wynter's friends and mother in the same conversation as telling her she can trust him. And yet, he goes to find her when she's trapped in the crowd. He keeps his promise not to feed during working hours. He buys her clothes from her favourite boutique and says nothing about it. He tells her he'll always keep her safe even when he's angry, and then actually does it. His tenderness toward her is real. It coexists with the cruelty rather than replacing it. The priestess tells him his soul is surfacing. His eyes burn bright blue when he looks at her. I didn't write a hero who behaves badly. I wrote a monster who is genuinely capable of something more and is terrified of it. That's a different thing entirely. And that's Book 1 of Bloodslave done. 1 week, 1 cursed contract, 1 woman who broke the unbreakable and then chose to stay anyway. Book 2 picks up immediately where this ends, and I will tell you, things do not get simpler. Wynter now knows exactly what she is to Marcus, has no magical obligation to love him, and is living inside his world anyway. That changes everything. The mystery woman is waiting. The dark figure in the moonlit vision is out there somewhere. And Marcus is only just beginning to realise what it means that his eyes burn bright when she's near. If you want to read ahead, Bloodslave is available on ebook and in paperback. Links are in the description. And if you enjoyed this walkthrough, subscribing and turning on notifications means you'll catch every new episode as it drops. I'll be back for Book 2. Until then, thanks for being here and for reading past midnight.